Hi, everyone. Welcome back. So, I have entered the process for purchasing a home. It wasn't my intent to do so quickly, but once I got to Merida and the surrounding areas, I noticed that a couple things. It's growing rapidly. The cost of everything is going up. They're actually, by law, allowed to raise things 10% every year. And so purchasing will never be less expensive as it is now. So I decided to go ahead and enter the process because that's part of my plan. As you know, my focus is on self care, especially self care if you have a chronic illness that you're managing. For me, part of that self care is knowing where I'm going to be going forward. And in this case, that means owning a property where I'm going to be living. So I'm going to be glancing away from time to time because I have attended my first meeting, my first appointment associated with the house purchase, and I wanted to share some information with you. I know you've probably heard about some of these things, but some of it might be a surprise, and I'm trying to give you a little bit more detail as to what to expect. So I'm going to look at my list. Merida, if you're purchasing property here or anywhere within 50 miles of the Mexican coast, Mexico protects its beaches for the use of its citizens. There are many places, especially in the tropics around the world, where wealthy corporations and people have purchased oceanfront property and then made it private so the locals can't use it. So it's actually written into the Mexican Constitution that this is protected. The local people are going to be able to use the beaches, which I think is absolutely wonderful. So, because of that, if you purchase within 50 miles of the coast, your house actually has to go into a trust that's owned by the bank. And you have to pay fees associated with that. After the initial fees, I think I was told it's about $500 a year. Initially, you will pay 500 and 500 in advance, and the bank will own your house, but you own your house too. It's just in a trust. And that goes for 50 years, and then you can decide, or your family will decide what to do. So, because of this trust, there are a few more things that you have to consider. At the first meeting, oh, by the way, before I move forward, folks, even if you are fluent in Spanish, please hire someone to help you through this process. Someone that's on your side that can help you negotiate as you're purchasing the house. If it's a new house, you cannot, in Mexico, you don't negotiate the price, but you negotiate things that the builder can add or change for you. And that only happens with someone who's experienced in the process. So please, if you are considering it, please hire someone to help you, because not spending money now will cost you a lot more money, I think, in the future. So hire someone. They will go with you to this first appointment. So the first appointment is with a notary, and that costs 5,000 pesos. That's in today's rate about $304. So you're going to have to pay that. And you're also going to have to bring 10% of the cost of the house, but your person that's helping you can negotiate that. But 10% is the normal number that you have to bring to the table, okay? I'm a points girl. I actually use my travel card to pay for that. But be careful. There is a processing fee for using your card. So make sure that processing fee is less than the value of the points that you're going to earn. So you bring this 10% to the table and the fees for the notary. There are certain documents you must take to this appointment, so be prepared. You must take your passport and a copy, originals and copies for everything except maybe the next thing, the passport for your beneficiary. If they're with you, wonderful. the original and the copy. But if your beneficiary isn't with you, a PDF copy of their passport will be sufficient. So the passport, you need your residency card. You need that for everything here. You need your original birth certificate. If you're married, you need your marriage certificate. You need a bill or something showing your address. Because I'm renting and everything is included in the rent, and they said my rental contract wasn't sufficient, but I gave them a PDF copy of my current bank statement in the States, and for some reason that was acceptable, and he allowed me to email that to him. So the bank statement to prove address, and your social security card. So let's go over that list again. Your passport, the passport of your beneficiary or a copy, your residency card, birth certificate, marriage certificate, something showing your address, either a cell phone bill with your name and address on it, or as I did, a PDF copy of your bank statement and your social security card. Oh, and by the way, if you are purchasing a house, don't forget the 3% commission for the person that helped you find the house. It's the same in the States. A real estate agent will charge you approximately 3% on the house. So the next step for me is in about 2 weeks or so, if the bank gives permission, and I'm told they normally do, for me to purchase the house within the 50-mile radius, I will have to go back and pay a fee at the bank. That's another notary fee, and the bank fees. So altogether, that's a little under $3,000. For me, with today's bank rate, it's $2,859. So you're going to need that in pesos, in cash, about a week or so or 2 weeks after your initial appointment. So I'm told after all that happens and you've paid those associated fees, it will take about 2 months to close on the house. And that's when you bring the rest of the money that is owed on the house. So a little bit about that. Transferring the money to Mexico is a little tricky. I'm sure you've heard about this. In my case, my bank requires that I use Wise because they do all the background checks and so on to transfer money to either the owners or the person who's selling me the house account or the account that I'm going to establish. And there are fees associated with that, so check that out as well. There are a lot of fees that add up. You're going to have to make a list and make sure that you're tracking what you're paying and everything is paid. But I am going to do that as part of the cost of buying a house here. So for those of you who are retired from the federal government and may choose to use your TSP account, a couple things you need to be aware of. If it is a regular TSP account, be mindful that they're going to take 20% off the top. So if you, for example, requested $100, you're only going to get $80, right? And the 20% may not be enough, so give some thought as to how much you want to have them withhold. You could actually ask them to withhold more. I think you can do less. I don't exactly recommend that because you're going to have a huge tax bill because the money that you take out from your TSP is going to be added to your earned income at the end of the tax year. So think about the tax implications. Your financial institution, the bank that you're going to use in the States, has to be recorded in your TSP account for at least 7 days before you can withdraw money to that account. And I'm told that once you make the withdrawal, it takes about 2 days for them to process it and about 6 days for it to get into your bank account. And then you have to go through the process of, if you're using Wise or Schwab or wherever, you have to get the money to them and then they have to get the money to you in Mexico. But you have 2 months to do that. Oh, and by the way, the cash pesos you need, and for me, I told you it was $2,859. because there are limits on ATMs, you'll have to go a few days to actually build that amount in cash. So have a plan to go to the bank 5 or 6 times in those 2 weeks. Do it sooner if you can, so you actually have the cash to give to them. So that's all I have for you today. I know it's a lot, right? But that's why, again, it's important to hire someone who is on your side to help you through this process. And you will get through it. I'm hoping that by June or so, I'll be in my house, my little house with my little pool, and carrying on with my life. So that's all I have. I hope you have a great day. And as I ask you every week or with every video, how are you planning to spend your health? Because for me, having a place that I own to place my head happens to be one of the ways that I plan on spending my health well. So have a great day. Bye-bye.